the older I get, the more I realize that God takes all of what He's given us and how He's made us, and He uses it in a more and more effective way if we are willing to take those things and commit them to Him. And He takes our passions and our giftedness, and here's an example of something that has been such a blessing and related to giving. I love women's ministry, and I have loved mentoring women in the past, and I found that the more we traveled involved relating to our philanthropy, the more isolated I seemed to become from our church and from my friends. And it was because we were coming and going a lot, and they didn't understand the exhaustion of that kind of a life. That it took time to get ready to go, we'd be gone, and have an intense experience apart from our culture, and then come back and have to recover from that, and I would just miss out on where they were living. So I would try to explain it, and then I wanted to share, the excitement of what we were doing, and they could only get it to a point, understand it to a point. So I don't know exactly how this came about. I think it was actually some of my friends encouraged me that maybe I'd take them on a trip with them. Oh, I remember. They met a woman that I'd gone to visit in Chennai who had an amazing ministry to women and children, and they thought they'd like to see her. They'd met her in the States, and they thought they'd like to see her in her location in Chennai. So another friend and I put together a trip of 12 women, and that was a challenge in itself. Even though I liked working with women, I liked it in a brief time, like a day, a Bible study, whatever, or in short snippets as I mentored them, but I'd not ever gone off with a group of women for 10 days. Having daughters probably helped, but anyway, we gathered up the team and we flew to Chennai, and we spent time. I trained the women. I had them read some books. I told them what kinds of ways we could help. I communicated with the ministry, and we went there with a wonderful plan of how we could minister to them, and then had an experience of our life, because they were seeing with their eyes the things that I had experienced in the past. They felt jet lag when they got there and disorientation. They had a little bit of fear, a little about would they get a disease when we were there. They saw the poverty. They saw the intense commitment of the woman running the ministry, and the problems that she had to deal with in managing them, and just all sorts of things. But they also saw the eagerness of the women and the children there who really needed to have interaction. So we spent our time there, and I had asked them before we left that they make a commitment to not just go on this trip, but then to be connected for a while in supporting the ministry. So after our ministry time, we went aside for 2 days, and we debriefed, and I asked them again to recommit that they'd support this ministry. Well, to my joy, some of the women were really excited and gave financially. One of the women, her husband somehow was intrigued by what she had experienced, and he committed to be on a board for this woman, and she really needed some good, strong board members. And so this woman and her husband go to India now once a year. This was 10 years ago when I did this. Another of the women, who's a Bible teacher and has influence on lots of women, has been back to India 3 times. She has such a heart for ministry, and I just see her having, not only her life has been changed, but also impacting all these women she works with. Another of my friends who was on the trip has gone back and on 2 occasions and taken her daughter with her. And then, everyone has supported financially. So the last trip that they went on was just about a month ago, in the beginning of 2010. And there were 12 of them on that trip. And I had nothing to do with the planning. I encouraged them, I prayed for them, but I had nothing to do with the planning. And it was the best picture to me of how I could encourage women to serve God around the world and to grow and to influence others. So the mentoring, the giving, the generosity, and women, we're focused on women and children, it all just came together in that experience. And I praise God that He caused so much fruit out of that, and it really was surrounded by prayer, and that made the difference.